For years, I was haunted by the work I didn't do. Not the digital product that will bring you side income or the Pilates course to achieve your perfect summer body. I mean the real work, the book you keep thinking about, the adventure you keep postponing, the thing you can't not do. I thought avoiding it kept me safe. But the truth is, avoiding it hurt me more. This is how I finally started the work that my soul was begging me to do. Let's do this. Welcome to an honest and human conversation about what it means to take action in the messy real world. I'm tired. I'm tired of getting advice that only fits lives of millionaires, not really regular human beings, who are sometimes tired, who have work to do, and who have friends to catch up with. I'm tired of trying and failing and blaming myself, and then trying again and then failing again and then blaming myself. I'm done. And that doesn't mean that I have given up on dreams altogether. It just means that I have accepted the fact that whatever tools Tim Ferriss is deploying is not applicable to my life. So what's the alternative? What's the human way of taking action in the real and messy world? I will talk about 4 steps that I usually go through in the hopes that it could help you, and why some of them is not even mentioned in the regular self-help word because it's not profitable. First is accept. Ironically, when I was listening to a podcast between Tim Ferriss and Naval said something like, desire is the contract that we make with ourselves to be unhappy until we get things. It took me by surprise because I realized that's true. When we have a desire, until we get that, we are perpetually miserable. And I want to take it one step further. When we have a dream, usually we have a version of ourselves that is capable of achieving that dream and achieving it fast, perfectly, and with great ease. See, there becomes this gap between how we see ourselves and this unrealistic image of this fantasy version of us, and then this creates so much pain and suffering that the moment that we are in and the person that we are becomes unbearable. And that leads to procrastination, that leads to self-blame, that leads to avoidance. So the first thing to do is to accept that it will take longer than you expect. You will not be able to change your life in 30 days, as those YouTube titles suggests. Second, there is this story of the Persian architect called Shiraz. I read it in one of my favorite books, 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkeman. In it, he explains that Shiraz was tasked with creating this beautiful mosque, and he did. He sketched this beautiful mosque that was praised and loved by everyone and was approved to be actually built. And when that happened, Shiraz basically locked himself in his room for 3 days and burned down all the sketches, because he knew that whatever was going to be built in real life would never match up to his expectation and his drawings. What he had in mind was always more beautiful and perfect than what actually can come to the real world. So to make something real in the world, to create something, to become someone, is to make a perfect idea or a vision worldly, thus finite and thus imperfect. So unless we accept the imperfection, it's not possible to actually bring something into the world. And the third thing is accept that it won't be easy. And not just in terms of hard work, which everyone says, but in terms of the emotional discomfort that it will create, because it will force you to the edges of your comfort zone. It will force you to face your fears. It will force you to become somebody else, to be able to create this thing that you have been dreaming of creating. If you accept these 3 facts, now we are closer to actually doing the thing. Second is shift from self to service. So whenever we want to do something, we always think about ourselves. Will I be able to do this? Will I be embarrassed? Will it work? It's so easy to focus on ourselves and forget that doing the thing is essentially a service. Putting your art into the world is a form of service. It's going to touch someone and change someone and impact someone. But sometimes our dreams are personal projects, and it's not easy to see how they are in service of something bigger than ourselves. I'm here to argue that almost all of your dreams are. Say you want to travel the world. It's basically a quiet defiance against a culture that is becoming increasingly more tribal and less empathetic. So maybe when you're taking action, the real question is not how will this make me look or will I be able to do it, but it's how I am being part of a larger story here. Then shift from getting your confidence from talent 2, getting your confidence from your ability to learn. For years, I treated the things that I want to achieve in life as a test to see whether I have it or don't have it, whether I am talented or not talented. But what your dreams asks from you usually is not innate talent. It's sustained effort. It's personal transformation to become someone who can actually achieve those dreams. It's about building character. We internalize the idea that if you're not demonstrating it in the first try, then it means that that's not a pursuit that you must follow, which almost to me feels like a conspiracy to make sure that we don't actually do the things that make us come alive. If you think about it, this is actually very similar to what we have experienced in the schooling system. School system pretended that there was room for failures, but punished us every time we didn't get something right in the first try. And this is almost like a trauma that lives within us and like completely shadows everything that we are doing when we are adults as well. So we have to counteract that programming and create a new version of life where we are able to get better. And when we actually show up and do the thing imperfectly, we have to also have trust in ourselves that our abilities will grow. The third version of shift is shifting from fear to curiosity. So I'm 6 months into a career break, and when I first started thinking about taking a break from my job, my brain told me, how could you possibly do this? What will happen to this? And it was all fear. And at one moment, like, there was this quiet whisper in my brain that said, but like, what would happen if you do this? There is this clip from my favorite YouTube channel, Yes Theory, in which one of the founders wants to do an Ironman and starts working out with a coach. And at one point it breaks him. And then he says to him, what if it's not worth it? And listen to what he says back.
Yeah.
What if it's not worth it?
Well, it's always worth it. It's just, you won't want to get attached to the result.
Mm-hmm.
The result for us is who we get to be because of it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if you finish or not, it matters that you put in the work to prepare yourself as best you can.
The result for us is who we get to be because we pursued our dreams. And I want you to really get curious about that. Not the fantasy version of yourself. I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about the one that got bruised, that completely failed, hit the floor and got back up. The one who was completely altered by the pursuit of the dream. Third step is implement, and this is actually the step where we have more frameworks than we ever actually need and habit trackers that are so sophisticated that it takes longer to actually fill them than to actually do the thing. So we are not talking about any of those things. What we will talk about first is compassion, meeting yourself where you are. I had deep insecurities about my body because growing up everyone expected me to be this sportive person, but I wasn't. I could never go to a gym without being extremely self-conscious, and instead of actually accepting the fact that there were some deeply rooted insecurities in me, I forced myself to go to the gym for years and years. I paid, 3 years of gym memberships that I actually used 1 or 2 times. Until one day, when I was living in Luxembourg and I went on a walk in this forest. This was my first time inside a forest and I fell in love with it. And I realized that's all I want to do ever in my life. Like, I want to go on hikes, I want to be around nature, and I realized that my body would need to catch up with my dreams about this. And I really had to go to the gym, but I didn't want to go to the gym. And whenever I want to go to the gym, that it failed. So I was like, okay, what can I do here? And for the first time in my life, I decided to meet myself where I am. And I'm going to find someone that I trust and we'll have one-to-one yoga classes together until I get used to it. So that's what I did. When I moved to Egypt, I found this old woman that I felt comfortable around, which turned her living room into a modular gym. And I decided to work with her. And that year, I actually started running as well and completed my first 5K around the pyramids. This might seem like a small thing to a lot of people, but it was like completely out of the realm of possibilities for me. And it completely changed what I think is possible for me in my life. So the moral of the story is maybe to take action, meet yourself where you are, lower the bar, do the smallest thing that you can, and stop fighting with yourself that you're not this incredible, perfect, Tim Ferriss or David Goggins style person who can do it at the will. You know, just Just accept that maybe today that's not you, and that's okay. Maybe you never have to be like that to actually do things in life. Okay, another one. Don't set goals, but experiment. For example, a goal would be, I am going to get 1,000 subscribers in 6 months. But an experiment, a pact, as she calls it, would be, this is actually a great way to lower the pressure and actually enjoy the process of showing up for your dreams. When we set goals, especially based on outcomes, we are almost setting ourselves up for failure because usually we don't achieve them and they create so much pressure that it makes the process completely unenjoyable. And when we don't achieve them, we actually blame ourselves and then we repeat the procrastination cycle again. I think what dreams ask from us is to abandon the obsession with outcomes altogether. So if you show up, you get a point. If you fail and show up again, you get a point. If you ghost your dreams and then come back, you get a point. It stops becoming about outcomes, but it becomes an expression of love through the act of showing up. Next in the implement phase is to practice creative constraints. Did you know that I bought this camera 2.5 years ago? It took me 2.5 years to actually take it out of its package and click shoot. And not because I wasn't curious about YouTube or taking videos, but it was because I didn't know where to start. And creative constraints are actually perfect antidote to that. When I wanted to shoot videos, I just aligned with myself that I would shoot them in my childhood bedroom. And I would shoot them in this camera with the lights that I already have, and I wouldn't change anything. Finally, and that decision and the constraints that I created for myself finally allowed me to actually do the shooting and then uploading. And once I started to upload, then I was able to try to play here and there and change course and adapt and get flexible. But for the initial part, if I didn't set those creative constraints, I don't think I would have ever started. I would still be keeping this camera in its package. The next one is the most human one. Comeback. Okay, we have to agree on something here. You will fail. It's inevitable. And I'm angry. I'm angry that they made us believe that inconsistency is a moral failure and that something is wrong with us because we cannot maintain these perfectly circled chains. I call bullshit. You have a busy life. I have a busy life. We have work that's never ending, personal chores, we have social life. We are all so exhausted. And now they want us to believe that if we are not achieving things consistently, it's because we have failed somehow. Bullshit. The real measurement of whether you will be able to do the thing or not is not your consistency. It's your ability to come back to the thing. And because they made us believe inconsistency is a moral failure, it becomes harder and harder to come back to it. It becomes too painful. It becomes a reminder that we are not good enough. It becomes a reminder that we will never be able to achieve our dreams. And all of them are lies. The moment that you will let go of your self-judgment is the moment that you will know that you can do it. So, what is your dream? Which part of the story has struck a chord with you? Is it accept? Is it shift? Is it implement? Is it come back? Because the part that struck you the most is the part where your soul is begging you to do the work to come back to your dreams. Because believe it or not, the world deeply needs people who are coming alive, and it deeply needs the things that only you can bring to it. Let me know if you like these deeply honest chats, because I'm planning not to have them like all the time, but I'm planning to have them once a month on topics that you might be interested in a way that actually works in real life for real people with messy lives. So let me know. Thank you so much for watching.